The first Roman emperor, Augustus Caesar, ruled from 27 BCE to 14 CE. He was generally well liked for bringing peace to Rome, and because he offered cheap food that everyone could afford. After he died, some Romans even worshipped him as a god. Unfortunately, after Augustus, not all the emperors were good for Rome. Those who controlled the army became emperor, rather than those who would rule Rome well, and there was a lot of corruption. The empire grew for a while, but by 117 CE, it wasn't going to get any bigger. The year 117 CE was when Hadrian became emperor. He realized that due to the size of the empire it would cost too much money to take any more land. At this time, the population of the empire started to decline. This meant less food was grown, less taxes were collected and less people were in the army. From the 3rd century CE, Germanic tribes started to attack the edges of the empire. Due to the empire's size, it often took a long time for soldiers to reach the places where these attacks happened. The Emperor Constantine decided to split the empire in two, to try and make it easier to rule and defend. However, this didn't help and over time the attacks got worse. In 410 CE, Rome was attacked and the Germanic tribes killed many Romans and destroyed much of the city. They also stole as much treasure as they could carry. The last Roman emperor of Rome was thrown out in 476 CE. However, the Second Empire in the east, known as the Byzantine Empire, managed to survive another 1,000 years, until 1453 CE. The Romans believed in many gods and goddesses, just like the Greeks and Egyptians. They had two groups of gods, the household gods, e.g., Janus, that you worshipped at home, and the official state gods, that were worshipped in the temples. Many of these gods were copied from the Greeks and given new names, see Activity 5. The Romans allowed the people of the Roman Empire to worship whichever gods they wanted, as long as they worshipped the state gods too. When they conquered new lands, they would even start to worship the gods from these places, and included them in their religion. Possibly because they didn't want to risk offending these new gods, if they were real. Just like the Greeks, they were afraid of upsetting the gods and being punished. There were religious festivals every month in honor of the different gods and goddesses. People liked them because they were usually public holidays, so they didn't have to work. The biggest festival of the year was Saturnalia, for the god Saturn, in December. It began as a way of celebrating the end of farmers planting their seeds. It eventually became a festival of parties and giving presents. Some historians think it is the basis for Christmas. During Saturnalia, slaves had their freedom for a few days, and their masters would even serve them for a change. Later, Christianity appeared in the Roman Empire. At first, Christians were treated extremely badly, often being executed, or used in the games, fighting lions, to entertain other Romans. Whenever something bad happened in Rome, such as a fire or a plague, the Christians were usually blamed. However, more and more people converted to Christianity anyway, and in the 4th century CE, even the Roman Emperor Constantine became Christian. By the start of the 5th century CE, most Romans were Christians and most of the temples to the old gods had been shut down.